So with Ilia moving up to the UFC's lightweight division, today we are going to be going through the UFC's top 15 lightweight rankings and seeing how many of those ranked UFC lightweights Ilia Topuria can beat. So starting off in at number 15, we have got Joel Alvarez. Look, I actually think this could be a difficult matchup for Ilia Topuria. Joel Alvarez is absolutely massive, for the UFC's lightweight division. I actually think he's going to be moving to welterweight. I think he had said after the Benoit and Denise fight fell through, but Joel Alvarez is really good in my opinion. He's coming off that really good submission win over Jakar Close, but that was way back at UFC Fight Night, Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. I believe that took place in December. So Joel Alvarez has been out for a while. But yeah, good striker. He is massive for the division. And he can grapple as well. I actually think this is a difficult matchup for Ilia Topuria, I'm going to be honest. I can't lie. But I think Ilia Topuria would beat Joel Alvarez. But this is a sleeper matchup. I think Joel Alvarez can cause Ilia problems. I think people would be... I think people are sleeping on the idea that Joel Alvarez could cause Ilia problems. Because when you think of some of the other big names in the division, like you're thinking of the Pimlets, Poirier, Gaethje, Arman, shit like that. But Joel Alvarez will go under the radar when you're thinking of lightweights that can beat Ilia. I think he has a chance, but I'm still picking Ilia. Moving on, we've got Grant Dawson. Look, we're not going to spend too much time talking to Grant Dawson. The guy can wrestle, yes, but he got knocked out by a jab from Bobby Green.
Bruh.
Ilia Topuria sends Grant Dawson into the shadow realm. Plain and simple. Moving on, Benoit and Denise. Look, I think Benoit and Denise and Ilia Topuria would be fun while it lasts. Now, Benoit and Denise does have his hands down low. He can crack. He can. He does have that finishing ability. I'm pretty sure all his wins come by way of finish. And he's a marauder. You know, he just walks forward. But we've seen him be stopped before. He's taken a lot of damage in his last fights. Ilia's boxing would just be too slick for Benoit and Denise. I think we'd get some how long this fight would last would be very entertaining. I think Ilia would stop him in 2 rounds. A part of me feels like he would stop Benoit and Denise in the first. Benoit and Denise, a pressure heavy fighter, hands low, and he's just taking a lot of damage recently. He's not going to outstrike Ilia. He's not faster than Ilia. He's not a bigger puncher than Ilia. He's not going to outgrapple Ilia. I don't see a way in where Benoit and Denise would beat Ilia Topuria. I think Ilia would stop him, but I think this would be a really entertaining fight for as long as it lasts, because Benoit and Denise, he is tough and durable, but he has taken a lot of damage. He's always on the front foot. He's always aggressive. But I think he's just too slow and easily hittable for Ilia. Moving on, we have got Michael Chandler. Look, Michael Chandler, Ilia Topuria would be an awesome matchup. Michael Chandler has the knockout ability to beat anybody. This guy is a massive puncher, and all it takes for Michael Chandler is one big shot to land. Now, can Michael Chandler land that big shot on Ilia Topuria? I'm going to say no. I think Ilia's just boxing in general. His striking IQ would just be too much for Michael Chandler. I think he would chew up that lead calf of Michael Chandler as well, and I can see Michael Chandler just overcommitting to shots and Ilia being able to counter him. And I think Ilia Topuria would knock out Michael Chandler. I think Ilia would knock him out. I think he would stop him late second round. But again, similar to the Benoit and Denise matchup, I would give Michael Chandler more of a chance, because Michael Chandler, he's a freak athlete. He's a big puncher. And he can wrestle. I don't think... I could see him picking up and slamming Ilia. So I could see him maybe doing that. But I could see Ilia being able to scramble and get right back up. I don't think Michael Chandler would be able to hold Ilia Topuria down. Again, big puncher. Would be an extremely fun fight. Ilia versus Michael Chandler would be so fun for how long it lasts. Because yes, Ilia is a really good striker, but he's not like a defensive wizard on the feet. It's not like this guy's just in and out. You can't hit him. Ilia is there to be hit, and we've seen him wear damage, especially in his last few fights. But yeah, Michael Chandler, I think Ilia would stop him. I think Ilia TKOs him. Moving on, we've got Rafael Fiziev. I think this would be a fun fight. Rafael Fiziev has got some really good Muay Thai, really good striker in my opinion. Although Fiziev isn't beating him. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. The guy was getting outstruck by Justin Gaethje. Now, we are going to get on to Justin Gaethje later in the video, obviously. Rafael Fiziev, I think him versus Ilia Topuria would be a fun one. I think we get a lot of fun striking exchanges between both guys. I think Rafael Fiziev would land on Ilia Topuria. I think he would have success against Ilia, but I think it would be a matter of time before Ilia Topuria would get to Rafael Fiziev. I think he would either finish Rafael Fiziev late or... Well, let's see. Let's just say all fights are 5 rounds. Yeah, just to make it an even playing field, all fights are 5 rounds. Rafael Fiziev's cardio does tend to dwindle away. The guy does kind of gas out as the fight goes on. I think Ilia would get to him inside 3 rounds. I think Ilia would stop Rafael Fiziev. Look, I might be called the biggest Ilia glazer in the comments, but I think Ilia is one of the most well-rounded fighters on the roster today. I think he beats Rafael Fiziev. Moving on, we have got Money Moicano. Now, Money Moicano is massive for the lightweight division. I know he fought a featherweight before, but he is a big lightweight. He can strike and he can grapple. I mean, the way he was able to control... The control he got in Jalen Turner, the control he got in Benoit Saint Denis, and the damage he got off in Benoit Saint Denis, I think Moicano... I don't think Moicano would beat Ilia, but I think, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe he could get Ilia down and control him, but I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see a path in how he gets Ilia to the mat, if you know what I mean. Like, I think there's such a big skill gap on the feet between both guys, and Ilia. People forget, man, Ilia came into the sport as a grappler. Now, Moicano has really good control. Like, when he gets his opponents to the mat, he is able to control them really well and dish out a lot of damage. And I think that's a path for him to have success against Ilia, the smaller guy. But I just don't see how Moicano gets Ilia to the mat. I just don't see it. I think Ilia on the feet. I think Ilia knocks out Moicano. Gonna be honest. Moving on, we have got Beneil Dariush. Criminally underrated in my opinion, Beneil Dariush. I think he should have got his title fight after the Gamrod matchup. But yeah, as of right now, on a 2-fight losing streak, he's been KO'd in the first round by Charles Olivera and Arman Suroyan. I think Ilia does the exact same thing to him. I think Beneil gets KO'd. Moving on, Paddy Pimlet. Look, this is definitely a fight we are going to see, and a fight I'm looking forward to. Paddy Pimlet is massive for the UFC's lightweight division. Big puncher as well. Very unorthodox striking. And the grappling as well. Paddy Pimlet, really, really underrated grappler, in my opinion. And again, similar to Moicano, when he gets you to the mat, he can dish out a lot of damage. He's not looking there to be a sandbag. He's looking to hurt you in the matchup. Although, we've seen him gas against Tony Ferguson, but we didn't see him gas against Michael Chandler. That's something to factor in. But Paddy Pimlet, this would actually be such a fun fight. I really want to see it. Paddy Pimlet, hands low, chin in the air. Yes, I know he says sorcerers don't get knocked out, for those who know. But his chin, I can just see Ilia just stepping in over the top, right hand, just catching Paddy and putting him down. And I know people are going to say, but like, will Ilia's power translate to lightweight? Yes, we've seen it translate. We've seen him knock out Jai Herbert. And I know Jai Herbert isn't the level of competition of top 15 UFC lightweights, but a chin's a chin. Like, it's, you know, Paddy Pimlet does have a good chin, yes, but Ilia does carry that power. I think eventually he would get the Pimlet. I think Ilia stops him. I think Ilia, I can really just see Ilia, Paddy having success. I think Ilia would wear a lot of damage in this matchup, but I can just see the inevitable. Ilia, the way he mixes up the body shots and the head shots, I can see Paddy Pimlet maybe fatiguing a bit from the bodywork of Ilia Topuria. With the chin in the air, hands down low, I can see Ilia Topuria stepping in as maybe Paddy's trying to circle off to his left, stepping in, closing down, right hand over the top, boom, drops Paddy Pimlet. I think Ilia stops him. Moving on, we have got Mateusz Gamrod, the most underrated fighter right now in the lightweight division. However, he gets rocked every single fight. Ilia would knock him out. Ilia knocks out Gamrod. Gamrod is a good grappler, but I can't see Gamrod being able to control Ilia on the mat. I can't see it. I really can't see it. And on the feet, like, Ilia is an out-and-out finisher. I think once he hurts Gamrod, and because of his own grappling background, he won't be afraid to chase the finish on the mat if he is to drop Mateusz Gamrod. I think Ilia finishes him. Moving on, Dan Hooker. Now, this is an interesting one because Dan Hooker, like, we see Max Holloway. I know Max Holloway got knocked out by Ilia, but Max Holloway had success in there. A long-rangey striker. Arguably, Dan Hooker hits harder, maybe. Maybe you could say than what Max Holloway does. But I think Dan Hooker could have success in there against Ilia Topuria, a really high-level kickboxer. The knees up the middle, with Ilia being the shorter opponent, I can see that there being an absolute money shot for Dan Hooker in the matchup as he walks. Because Ilia will be the aggressor, so Dan Hooker will be on the back foot. You would like to think using his range. We've seen him do that before. And a bit of volume on Ilia as well. I think the fight would get scrappy, but I can just picture Dan Hooker timing that knee, cracking Ilia. And how good's Ilia's chin? We need to find out. But I think this fight does inevitably get scrappy. And I think Ilia beats Dan Hooker by decision. He could definitely stop him. He could definitely stop Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker's tough and durable. I think Ilia Topuria would beat Dan Hooker by decision. I think Ilia Topuria will do a good job of closing the distance on Dan Hooker. I think he'll land the more damaging shots. I think Dan Hooker's face will be an absolute mess. I think Dan Hooker will be touching the canvas multiple times in this matchup from Ilia Topuria. But I can just see Dan Hooker's just toughness getting him to the end of this fight. But again, a long-rangey striker, good with kicks, throws a lot of punches, does have that power. But that knee from Dan Hooker, I think, would be a money shot for him against Ilia Topuria with a smaller opponent. But again, I still think Ilia would beat Dan Hooker. Moving on, we've got Dustin Poirier. I would love to see this matchup. Two of the best boxers right now in the UFC. Dustin Poirier, a southpaw, has a lot of power in either hands. Even his lead hand is like a thudding shot as well. I think the boxing exchanges in this matchup would be really good. However, I think the straight shots of Ilia Topuria would end up getting through to Dustin Poirier. And I think Ilia would be able to hurt Dustin Poirier. I can see Ilia having Poirier against the cage. Poirier swinging. Both guys are swinging. But Ilia will end up mixing up. You know, Ilia goes body, head, body, and I can just see him just teeing off on Poirier against the cage after Poirier's been caught with a straight shot by Ilia. He's hurt Poirier. He's not going to do what Michael Chandler done and just start wheeling in hooks. I think he'll take his time, pick his shots. I think he'll unload to the body when he has Poirier hurt. And I think he TKOs Dustin Poirier. Although, Poirier to Poirier, what a matchup that would be. That would be so fun because I think Poirier could definitely beat him. Poirier is a good boxer. Ilia is the better boxer, in my opinion. But Dustin Poirier has that shot. He has the power. Like I said, Ilia is not a defensive wizard on the feet. He is there to be hit. And Poirier does have that power. Poirier does have that finishing instinct. I think Poirier could beat Ilia. But gun to my head, who would I pick? I'd pick Ilia to win. Although this would be a really fun matchup. Like, if Poirier beats Holloway and Ilia becomes the champion, I wouldn't mind if Poirier stayed and fought him. I can't lie. Moving on, Max Holloway. Look, we've seen what happened in their first matchup. That was in the featherweight division. I think Max Holloway can beat Ilia. I definitely do believe that. I think Max Holloway looked really good throughout that fight against Ilia. He was landing. Max Holloway looked really good in there until he was lying on his back looking up at the lights. I thought Max Holloway done a really good job in there against Ilia Topuria at the time, kind of being like the matador to the bull, staying at his range, picking his shots. That stomp to the knee of Ilia. Max was doing really good. And I think Max can beat Ilia. Like, I would say Max has a better chance of beating Ilia than what Poirier has, in my opinion. But we've already seen this fight. Ilia knocked him out. I can't say Max would beat him at lightweight. I think Ilia... I'm going to go for Ilia again. I mean, we've already seen it, so... But I think Max has a really good chance of beating him. Moving on, Justin Gaethje. Look, controversial take. I think Justin Gaethje has a better chance of beating Ilia than what Charles Oliveira has. Hear me out though. Styles make fights. Justin Gaethje is a massive puncher in the UFC's lightweight division. Justin Gaethje will get scrappy with Ilia Topuria. He will trade in the pocket with Ilia. And it's not like if you don't knock out Ilia, he's inevitably going to get you. I do think there is that aspect of it, but I think, you can... Similar to what Max Holloway is trying to do, be the matador to the bull. I think there are ways of beating Ilia than just you have to knock him out. But Gaethje has that shot to knock him out. The rear uppercut that Gaethje throws really well. With Ilia being the smaller opponent, I think that there is an absolute essential shot for Justin Gaethje in this matchup. Look, I think Gaethje would inevitably get KO'd by Ilia. I know he's tough and he is durable. He's been in a lot of wars, but I think Ilia would crack Justin's chin, if I'm being honest. I think Ilia is the more refined boxer out of the two, but Gaethje will be willing to stay in the pocket and trade with Ilia, and he has the power to not only hurt Ilia, but knock Ilia Topuria out in these exchanges where they're just swinging. But that's where I think Ilia would then be able to get the upper hand on Gaethje when they are trading in these, when it is this, what would be the word? When they are just exchanging heat, it's just all go, it's all action. Ilia will do a better job of picking his shots and staying composed. I mean, Gaethje is known for overextending and committing on shots, and he ends up falling over, and he's all off balance. And I think Ilia would do better in that pressure situation, if that makes sense, of both guys are just swinging heat, but Ilia would be more in tune and switched on to pick that shot that would knock out Justin Gaethje. I think he would beat Gaethje, but like I said, I think Justin Gaethje has the better chance of beating Ilia than what an Olivera has. Speaking of, we've got Charles Oliveira. Look, this fight's happening at UFC 317. I think Ilia Topuria beats him. Look, I know a lot of people are saying, Charles Oliveira is so slept on, man. Look at his last performance, UFC 309. He was so composed in there. Look at what he done to Michael Chandler. Yeah, to Michael fucking Chandler. That's what he done that to. Charles Oliveira can crack. Yes, I mean, he dropped Justin Gaethje off the top of my... that straight right he caught Gaethje with. Unbelievable. He's got that Muay Thai stance. He is going to meet Ilia. They are going to collide just head first because Oliveira likes to be the pressure fighter. Ilia likes to be the pressure fighter. But I think the calf kick of Ilia is going to be there for him against Oliveira. And I think the boxing, I think his boxing is going to be too crisp for Charles Oliveira. We've seen Oliveira be dropped and hurt before. Not that he's chinny. He's there to be hurt and he has been dropped multiple times, but he's got really good recovery, Charles Oliveira. But the difference with Ilia, say to when Poirier hurt him, say to when Gaethje hurt Oliveira, is Ilia will be willing to go to the mat with Charles Oliveira. I think Ilia will finish this fight inside 2 rounds, and a part of me feels like he's going to Darce choke Charles Oliveira. I can just see it. I can see it. I can see him getting I can see him submitting. I think he's going to try and submit Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira, known for his submissions, got the most submission wins in UFC history. I think Ilia is going to try and look to just beat Oliveira at his own game. I think he drops Oliveira, and then I think he subs him. I think he subs him with a Darce choke. Either way, he finishes Oliveira inside 2 rounds. Moving on, we've got Arman Suroyan. Look, Arman Suroyan is elite. This guy's got a good jab. Unorthodox striking. Arman's not afraid to throw a fucking axe kick, and he can grapple really well. Look, I think this would be a real test to see how good Ilia Topuria's grappling really is, because Arman Suroyan is a really high level grappler. But in my opinion, the difference on the feet is where I think we're going to see an issue. I think Ilia on the feet is too much for Arman Suroyan. I think Ilia on the feet would be able to land on Arman Suroyan. I think... But Arman Suroyan's so good. Fuck, this is hard, this one. I can't lie. And Arman carries power as well. Like, Arman can hurt you. And he's got nasty ground and pound as well. And he's not easy to finish either. This is a tough one. Gun to the head. Ilia beats Arman. And finally, we have got Islam Makhachev. Look, I think Ilia knocks out Islam inside 3 rounds, I'm going to be honest. Now, this is a close fight, and there's definitely... It's not like clear cut. I know I'm saying that Ilia would knock him out inside 3 rounds, but there's definitely ways for Islam, obviously, to win. He's much bigger than Ilia. I think Islam is a really underrated kickboxer, and his grappling is next level. So for me, in my opinion, like, I'm going off the basis of Ilia's takedown defense and get-ups, and his grappling is really good, although we have seen him be takedown and control of it by Bryce Mitchell. But Bryce Mitchell has a good shot on him in terms of a good takedown shot, good entries. Islam's obviously such a way more elite grappler than what Bryce Mitchell is, but I don't like Islam's striking defense when they are in close quarters. We've seen it against Moicano as well. It's like hands down, it's like moving, it's like... Go back and watch. I just don't rate it. I think Ilia Topuria, the calf kick, or will be the inside kick for him in this matchup, will be a good shot. I think when they get into the clinch, yes, the knees are there for Islam, but I can just see Islam getting the tie clinch, Ilia just unloading body shots, and then coming up over the top, cracking Islam. We've seen Islam be hurt in multiple fights. We've seen him be finished before. It's not as if this guy's like... Where Habib kind of had that unbeaten aura type thing about it. We've seen Islam be KO'd by Pantoja. But yeah, I think Ilia would knock him out. I think Ilia would be able to close the distance. And like I said, I don't rate Islam's inside fighting, and I don't rate his inside striking defense. I think Ilia knocks him out. I really do believe that. So yeah, pretty much I think Ilia beats every single lightweight. There are some like clear-cut matchups that I think he wins. The close competitive matchups for me are Islam Makhachev, Arman Suroyan, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje. Those are like his 4 hardest matchups. Right, and for the 5th one, we'll just throw it in. We'll say Dustin Poirier. I think Poirier has a better chance of beating him than what Olivera does, in my opinion. So yeah, those are his 5 hardest fights, in my opinion. Islam, Arman, Max, Gaethje, Poirier. Let me know how many of these guys you think Ilia beats in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.